A very good evening to you, our viewer. Once again, this is News Tonight, and my name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango. Let's delve into the technicalities. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has urged African members of Parliament to legislate for continental free trade area, emphasizing that if Africa is to resist the European policies to defend family, it must be prosperous and also have a common market. While opening the third Africa Regional International Entry Conference at State House in Tibet, Mr. Museveni said that African sovereignty cannot be achieved with economic and political fragmentation.
Uganda is hosting the third African Regional Interparliamentary Conference with emphasis put on promoting family, values and sovereignty. The President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, said spreading disorientation to the whole world is criminal. He questioned what people who make policies like giving sex education to children are looking for.
I appeal to you, now that you are here, all of you, and our lawyers are here, study that Samoa document. If it really contains all those things you are talking about, the reproductive rights, what have you, then we shall have to pull out from that nonsense. And tell the EU that we can't be part of that criminality. Because comprehensive sexual education, in the Bible, it says there is time for everything. When children are children, they should be learning about things of children. In the African tribes, when time for marriage comes, people are counseled about marriage. But to get a child and you start teaching her to be a woman or a man is really madness.
In order to protect families, President Museveni says Africa must strengthen economically and politically, attributing the arrogance of Europeans to the weaknesses which Africans suffer.
To defend the family, apart from stubbornness, say no, we have refused. Tumekataa. In Swahili we say tumekataa. We have refused. We don't accept it. Okay, you have refused. But you are bankrupt. How will you refuse? In order to resist, we must be rich, we must be prosperous. And in order to be prosperous, we must have a common market. So, without a big market, the wealth creators are stifled. They try, but they can't easily grow. So you need to give them the big market of Africa, using your legislative power, using your political mobilization. We should all mobilize for a continental free trade area.
The conference aims at coming up with an African charter to promote family, values and sovereignty. The First Lady, Janet Museveni, says the laws enacted by parliaments shape not only nations but generations.
May this conference mark a new era of collaboration among African legislatures to rise above external influences and restore what is inherently ours. We indeed need an African charter that speaks to our uniqueness, one that affirms our values, defends our families, and reduces our dependency on foreign nations to fund the core pillars of our societies.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, said despite blackmail, the Parliament of Uganda prioritized interests of the people when they passed the anti-homosexuality law.
Experienced this during the legislation against homosexuality. A combination of blackmail, sanctions, and manipulations did not only deter our spirit, we legislated into the best interests of our families and society. I want to commend all the members of Parliament for standing up and making sure we protect the family values.
Sharon Slatter of Family Watch International appealed to President Museveni to support African countries fight sexual, social and imperialism of the West, citing Samoa Agreement and the AU Convention on Ending Violence Against Women and Girls, which she says are legal threats.
This brings in the triple content that is so toxic. It brings in abortion for reproductive choices, it brings in the LGBT, sexual orientation, gender identities, and it says the governments must provide the right to access the information and services to support these choices. How did this get into an AU document, and how did it get endorsed in a binding treaty?
Sexual rights, reproductive health, comprehensive sexuality education, sexual orientation, gender identity, all alien offending text.
The conference will also look at health sovereignty.
Professionals must be able and should be able to provide information that allows the persons to make an informed choice as to whether to take a vaccine or not. And once that decision is made, we are all expected to respect it, whether it is a yes or a no.
The three-day conference aims at coming up with an African charter to promote family, values and sovereignty. I'm Nafka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Entebbe.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni has called on African nations to adopt clean and affordable electricity as a strategy to combat environmental degradation and catalyze socio-economic transformation across the continent. He made these remarks while delivering a lecture of opportunity to the officers from Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College Senior Course 46 at State House, Entebbe.
Resource care, otherwise known as the Dutch disease.
A group of Ghanaian Armed Forces Command and Staff College Senior Course 46 is currently in Uganda on a climate change, environment, security and development study tour. As part of the tour, the officers have held an engagement with the President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni.
Course here are members of Senior Course 46. Indeed, it is heartwarming to know that a lot of your 7 generals have passed through the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College.
I'm here to accompany the visiting delegation from the Fraternal African State of Ghana, Your Excellency, and specifically from the Ghana Senior Staff and Command College, who are here on a study tour under the theme Climate Change, Environment, Security and Development as a requirement for the fulfillment of their training program, Your Excellency.
In this meeting held at State House in Entebbe, President Museveni gave it to the visiting delegation that it is time for Africa to transition from traditional biomass fuels like firewood and charcoal to modern and clean energy sources. Citing environmental statistics, the President noted with concern that Uganda's annual water outflow to South Sudan through River Nile has dropped from 60 billion to 40 billion cubic meters since the 1960s, a decline he attributes partly to deforestation driven by cooking fuel needs.
Nations that tend to have natural resources.
President Museveni further linked the energy crisis to broader structural challenges in African economies. He also called for industrialization of the tropics, especially in river catchment areas like the Nile and Congo basins, to enable rational and efficient land use. Reflecting on Africa's post-independence political challenges, President Museveni warned against the politics of identity based on tribe, religion and gender and advocated for an ideology of common interest.
The politics of tribes, politics of religion, politics of gender chauvinism, looking down upon women. That was the dominant politics in Africa. If you take Nigeria, that was the big problem. Even Ghana we had quite a bit of that. Kofi Busia, these other fellows, Nkrumah.
Museveni emphasized that prosperity cannot be achieved through foreign aid, but through production and market access.
From the 1930s, 30s, 40s, Nkrumah was already active. But for us, we came on the scene in the 1960s. And when we came, we found that politics of identity. Even here, it was the same story. You had a party for Catholics, a party for Protestants, a party for one of the tribes, the Baganda.
He explained the importance of vertical integration using Uganda's cotton and milk sectors as examples.
It seems prosperity comes from interdependence of the communities of Uganda. The interdependence, my tribe plus the tribes of other areas working together, selling to one another, that's what will create prosperity.
President Museveni also weighed in on the recent developments in West Africa, urging caution in political disagreements that could disrupt economic cooperation, urging that Africa's problems has for over time been ideological.
So the prosperity, so we said, what is the mission of leaders, political, even professional like you? What is their mission?
The visiting team was invited to study and adopt the NRM's 4 core principles: patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. On his part, Brigadier General Katemba gave a brief on the week-long study program for the group, which he said is aiming at equipping participants with best practices at the nexus of climate change, environmental protection, security and development. Major John Otto is representing Ghana Armed Forces at this lecture.
Every year, we select a team and visit African countries to research on the theme. This year, we are visiting 4 countries.
Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Well, thank you very much there, Robert Onyango. Now, a large number of Catholics Friday gathered to celebrate the new Pope in a mass held at Lubaga Cathedral, Kampala. In his remarks, the Archbishop of Kampala, Paul Semogedede, thanked God for a quick process of getting a new Pope and urged Catholics across the country to listen to the new Pope.
The Archbishop of Kampala, Paul Semogedede, urged the Catholics worldwide to embrace the new Pope, referring to him as a shepherd in relation to the scripture in Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 15.
The Lord is always with us, guiding the church on which direction to take. In his encyclical, Pastoris Dabo Vobis, Saint Pope John Paul II quotes the words of Prophet Jeremiah, "I will give you shepherds after my own heart." So God is always there to give us shepherds like he did yesterday. Pope Leo XIV is now our chief shepherd. He is the vicar of Christ. He now has the keys to the kingdom and is the rock upon which Jesus built his church.
Among the activities that took place during the Mass was praying for the blessings for the new Pope, sharing the Eucharist, and joining some couples in holy matrimony.
It has been a blessing in our wedding ever since we started. We had so many challenges, but at least we have tried to overcome them, and we are so grateful for this day. It has been a double coincidence in a way that we have been celebrating, all welcoming the new Pope, but at the same time, we have been having our wedding today. We thank God.
Pope Leo XIV is expected to address a number of challenges, including high misuse of technology that is violating religious values.
The challenge of relativism, especially among young people buoyed by technology and the enthusiasm with which they are embracing technology. Whether that technology will be infused with church values and community values, and therefore the young people will be able to blend what they love about technology with what the church teaches, and how they'll be able to rhyme their own interest with technology with the confusion the elders are facing with technology, without necessarily eroding the teachings of the church. For me, those are very critical.
The Holy Mass at Lubaga Cathedral follows the selection of the new Pope, Leo XIV, after the death of Pope Francis, who passed away on April 21st, 2025. Winnie Ainembabazi Katwire and Kalisha Stephen for UBC.
Now, relatedly, the Catholic Church turned a historic page this Friday as 69-year-old Pope Leo XIV led his first Mass at Pontiff inside Sistine Chapel. Born Robert Prevost in Chicago, he became the first North American to lead the global church, now guiding more than 1.4 billion Catholics. Let's see more in this report.
Clad in white and gold vestments, he opened his homily in English with a call for unity across the church.
Sing a new song to the Lord because he has done marvels. And indeed, not just with me, but with all of us, my brother cardinals, as we celebrate this morning, I invite you to recognize the marvels that the Lord has done, the blessings that the Lord continues to pour out upon all of us. Through the ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me as we continue as a church, as a community of friends of Jesus, as believers, to announce the good news, to announce the gospel.
Pope Leo XIV stepped into history, leading his inaugural Mass in Sistine Chapel, Vatican City. He urged Catholics everywhere to work together in faith, reigniting a church rooted in friendship with Jesus and renewed in spreading the gospel.
Sarà sciolto nei cieli, verbum Domini.
Switching to Italian, he described the church as a city on a hill, a moral compass amid a world clouded by consumerism and power struggles.
Attraverso il vostro voto a succedere al primo degli apostoli, questo tesoro lo affida a me perché col suo aiuto ne sia fedele amministratore, a favore di tutto il corpo mistico della Chiesa, così che essa.
He declared the church must shine through today's dark nights as a beacon of hope. Having served in Peru as a missionary and bishop, Pope Leo brings both pastoral warmth and reformist zeal. His identity, American by birth, Peruvian by ministry, has echoed across continents. Bells rang from Chiclayo to Chicago. His papacy is expected to prioritize dialogue over doctrine, focusing on social justice and human dignity. Behind closed doors, key decisions await, crucial reforms, global strategies, and appointments that will shape his early days. But today, his message was clear. Under Pope Leo XIV, the Church steps forward with light and friendship.
Torium nostrum in nomine Domini. Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus.
Brian Tumwinebiaruhanga, UBC News.
Well, thank you very much there, Brian. Now, relatedly, on Thursday, May 8th, 2025, the world received a new Pope, blessing the recently departed Pope Francis. Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost was elected as the 267th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, taking the papal name Pope Leo XIV. But this, as his election marks a historic moment, as he becomes the first American and the first member of the Augustinian order to ascend to the papacy. Who exactly is this man?
The first time he was ordained priest was in 1982, which saw him spend significant time in Peru. He served in various capacities, including parish pastor, seminary teacher, and diocesan official. His deep commitment to missionary work and education in Latin America earned him Peruvian citizenship in 2015. Born on September 14th, 1955 in Chicago, Robert Prevost pursued his religious vocation with the Order of Saint Augustine. His leadership qualities were recognized when he was elected Prior General of the Augustinian Order from 2001 to 2013. He would later serve as Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru from 2015 to 2023. Pope Francis would appoint him as Prefect of the Dicastery for Bishops and President of the Pontifical Commission for Latin America. These roles significantly elevated his profile within the Vatican. This was enriched with his education, having graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from Villanova University in 1977 and a Master of Divinity from Catholic Theological Union in Chicago in 1982. This was before he acquired a licentiate in canon law from the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas in Rome in 1984. It is from the same university that he acquired a doctorate in canon law in 1987. No wonder Thursday 8th could not end without becoming a day to remember in the Catholic and indeed Vatican history. His unveiling and subsequent emergence from the Vatican interior was an end to the anxious wait, becoming an answer to the question most people in the world had asked when Pope Francis died. Who will be the next Pope? He was elected during a conclave with 133 voting cardinals, the highest number in history. Pope Leo XIV, as he has come to be known, was considered a consensus candidate who could bridge various factions within the church. His papal name pays homage to Leo XIII, known for advocating for workers' rights and Catholic social teaching. In his inaugural address, he emphasized unity, peace, and the importance of pastoral care, aligning with the inclusive vision of his predecessor, Pope Francis.
Con tutti voi, fratelli, sorelle carissimi, questo è il primo saluto del Cristo risorto.
The new Pope is recognized for his centrist approach, blending progressive and traditional views. He supports social justice initiatives, environmental stewardship, and outreach to marginalized communities. The leadership of Pope Leo XIV is anticipated to be one characterized by a thoughtful and conciliatory style. It will aim at upholding Catholic teachings while engaging with contemporary global issues. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Big think about the MTN Super. Wali yakapia musite wali yakapia. MTN kabo de super mustairompia. Then you kabo de smartphone nebi akabibiona. MTN kabo de super mustairompia. Then you kabo de smartphone nebi akabibiona.
Get the new Kabode Super smartphone and enjoy 16 GB free. Start with a deposit of only 45,000 Uganda shillings and pay the rest mpola in daily installments of less than 1K. You can also make weekly and monthly installments. Together, our vibes are unstoppable. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN.
MTN is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Mera ngenze mboni Sam anazanya Ruto ganyiga star 278 then hash kuja kuba ngo yingide mukazanyo nga sente zino zimula wano zina wangu zino wano milioni 10 kinana mu mukaga ebindi wana soka bila ku TV nange sasoka kikiriza ninga mulaye kino kinzo kubanga kitufu oba yaddala sibya bufere sente zino zikoze ki naziwangudde amasanyu ina manji ebyoto byange byembadde njagala gingenda bitukiriza.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulator.
Are you a woman with a small-scale business with a dream of growing it to another level? The GROW Project is here to support you in realizing your dream.
The GROW Project is a government initiative implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and Private Sector Foundation Uganda with support from the World Bank.
We support women-owned businesses across the country to gain hands-on and business management skills through training within your location, business financing through grants and affordable loans, and infrastructure in your areas of operation to enable you to increase your productivity.
If you have a business that makes sales of up to 800,000 Uganda shillings per month, the GROW Project has the tools and resources to help you succeed. For more information, contact your district or city GROW focal person or call our toll-free line on 0800 307 777 to learn more about how you can benefit from the GROW Project's services.
The GROW Project. Empowering women economically, transforming communities.
Special announcement from the Baseline Education Census 2025. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Sports, is conducting the Baseline Education Census 2025. This exercise will cover all learning institutions in the country for both government and private establishments, namely pre-primary, primary, secondary, vocational, and higher institutions of learning. The Baseline Education Census exercise data collection is being conducted in a phased manner, starting with Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, comprising of districts of Kampala, Mukono, and Wakiso. The rollout to all other regions will commence at the beginning of second term. The Baseline Education Census collects information on learners, teachers, and school facilities to facilitate planning and policy decisions in the education sector. Uganda Bureau of Statistics appeals to the general public, heads of schools and institutions, as well as the local government authorities to cooperate with the BEC enumerators. In a special way, UBOS appeals to all parents of the learners to support the exercise by availing learners with their correct date of birth, national identification number, and learner's identification number. For more information, please call 0772 933 628 or 0743 787 189 from Dr. Chris Mukiza, Executive Director.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukota Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
Now 34 minutes past 8 o'clock, and we enter into a second segment. Now, European Union Day 2025 Uganda celebrations have been marked under the stars in Kololo, Kampala, marking 75 years of peace, unity and shared values and a growing EU-Uganda partnership. European Ambassador to Uganda Jan Sadek used the same occasion to remind government to uphold human rights and rule of law, especially at a time when the 2026 general elections are nearing.
It was a celebration of pomp and glamour as hundreds of high-ranking government officials, civil society organizations, diplomats, among many others, met at the European Union country representatives' residence in Kololo to celebrate Europe Day 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, Uganda remains an important regional player in a complex neighborhood. The European Union recognizes Uganda's contribution to regional stability through its deployments, including in the DRC and in Somalia. The EU is a partner for peace and security.
Among other high-profile people in attendance included Ministers Norbert Mao, Peter Lokeris, former Premier Amama Mbabazi, Human Rights Commission boss Mariam Wangadia, ambassadors of Rwanda, Germany, France, the Netherlands, the UK High Commissioner to Uganda, among others. The EU ambassador to Uganda, Jan Sadek, hailed EU-Uganda partnership, which stretches to climate, security, trade, education, health, among others.
EU-Ugandan trade reached a record €2 billion or 8 trillion Ugandan shillings last year, with a trade surplus of €500 million in Uganda's favor. Uganda exports to the EU, Ugandan exports to the EU have tripled since we began our regular business forums in 2020. and rose by 60% last year alone. That is a remarkable trend, I think, and it shows that partnership pays off. Altogether, Team Europe delivers some 700 million euros in development assistance to Uganda every year.
Ambassador Sadek also used the moment to warn against alleged human rights violations, calling for restraint from actors perpetuating this.
Over the past months, we have followed the developments with concern. We have observed extrajudicial actions by security forces, arbitrary detentions and degrading treatment of political opponents and journalists, and an alarming militarization of the political sphere. The use of military force against civilians with apparent impunity contradicts the principles of the rule of law.
European Union trade ties with Uganda was also held, and the mutual cooperation EU countries exhibit to each other has also been pointed out as a strong reminder that a fostered East Africa community integration is a necessity that should keep being strengthened.
The Europeans were joining themselves together and it became very strong. And also East Africa must become united in order to gain within itself an African to become a larger market, and that will make people sit together. Peace is created because there is no problem or suspicion against each other.
The event was spiced by a raffle where the lucky winner won a fully paid round trip to the EU headquarters in Brussels. Crispus Arinitwe, UBC News.
Now, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is to explore possibilities to ensure more access to electricity, especially to communities hosting power generation and the plants and dams. The Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, told members of Parliament who are on an oversight visit to different plants across the Western Uganda route that government is to consider immediate solutions to the vice, including securing transformers to convert the high voltage power. Let's hear more in this report.
Government, through the National Development Plan 4, targets electricity generation capacity of about 52,000 megawatts. The population growth and rapid urbanization has continued to push the demand for electricity at a worrying state, as the need for electricity is likely to surpass the supply in the next 3 years. The Parliamentary Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, chaired by Herbert Ariko, is on a field visit to different electricity sites along the Western Corridor to ascertain the capability of achieving the demands.
So I'm able to tell which voltage is on line 1, which voltage is on line 2 and line 5.
The MPs, accompanied by the Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, toured transmission lines, power plants and dams, including Chikagata Hydropower Dam, which generates about 14 megawatts.
From what we saw at the power plant here, there is even potential, actually, to grow the capacity of this plant to up to 20 megawatts. This is something that we hope that with the time the ministry, together with the licensee, who is the Chikagati Power Project, can discuss and see if we can increase.
Chairperson Herbert Ariko implored government on the alternative power solutions, hailing the Kabulasoke solar plant, which generates 20 megawatts to the national grid.
Because the concern is to see that the power tariff is affordable in as much as possible, so that many more people can be able to not just get connected to the grid, but also be able to utilize power for socio-economic transformation.
Uganda is not that lucky to have enough money to prepare for an alternative, such that when we are working on this, for example, installing a new transformer, we have an alternative, a diversion, for people to continue enjoying the service. Like you see a road diversion. When we are working on a road, a portion in the road, we first create a diversion so that traffic does not stop. For electricity, we don't have money to create diversions.
Minister Ruth Nankabirwa revealed to the MPs plans to consider prioritizing the local communities hosting power sites to easily access electricity. Nankabirwa says The high voltage power can be converted if the engineers agree with the solution.
So what we have to do is to go back to the drawing board when we are planning for power generation. What can we do? Is it possible to install a smaller transformer within a substation that receives power, which can be used to distribute power in the neighboring community rather than waiting for this power to be thrown on the national grid, and we follow the proper plan that we have in power distribution.
The Electricity Regulatory Authority has also taken part in the field visit. Minister Nankabirwa has explained why some areas have faced power blackouts of recent.
We had 30 days of harmonization from 1st of April to 30th of April. So May has gone 8 days. But we appreciate the fact that people want constant supply of power, because that's what we had created anyway. It is the same government that had created that comfort zone, which is now being disrupted because we are upgrading the system so that we can serve you better.
Recently, the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources implored government to provide adequate funds to contractors completing the rural electrification and the electricity scale-up projects, respectively.
A few poles are being put up, but we are saying we don't want just to see poles erected without the wires being run and without power being energized onto this. We want to see that happens. We also would like to see that we work together with the players in the sector to ensure that other infrastructures such as transformers are available.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Now, the Minister for Education and Sports, who is also the First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, has advised public to stop thinking that vocational studies are for academic failures, saying that many who have studied vocational courses have become successful in life. This was in her message delivered by the third Deputy Prime Minister Hajat Rukia Isanga Nakadama during the 6th graduation ceremony of Victory School of Beauty and Hospitality.
Victory School of Beauty and Hospitality has graduated over 100 students who have excelled in various skilling disciplines.
The Prime Minister,
Minister for Education and Sports, also First Lady Janet Kataha Museveni, in a message conveyed by the third Deputy Prime Minister Hajat Rukia Nakadama, urged vocational students not to undermine themselves since they play a crucial role in job creation.
as you go out into the world to apply your skills by joining the workforce or even establishing your own businesses, it is my prayer that beyond the technical expertise that you have acquired here, to establish your career goals early and to develop a plan to achieve them.
The director of the institute, Robert Kasibante, stated that they have been striving to address unemployment, but the high taxes on materials used to train students remains a major challenge.
Previously, we used to receive government support through non-formal training programs, but unfortunately, its funding was scrapped off, affecting us significantly. We also face challenges relating to the high cost of skilled equipment due to high taxes. It has become increasingly difficult to acquire sufficient training machines. Additionally, there is limited support for exchange programs, which are crucial for learning and exposure.
Buganda Kingdom Minister for Information, also Kingdom spokesperson Israel Kazibwe Chitoke, encouraged the graduates to work with integrity and passion.
Wemba njagala kaviri ka penso tompa kaviri ka kafanananga penso bera n'amaziba mu nkola ey'emirimu. Ekyo kye kikulembera byonna. Ekirala okubeera abamalirivu n'okukola n'okwagala.
Some of the graduates shared the benefits of vocational education.
Nakirabanga emirimu gintawanya wazimu mu kukola nga tinamaliza high school kati so nensalawo nengamba kangende nsooke nkole ki nsooke nsome then wensoma then ntandika okukola omulimu gwenba nsomeredde kuba yeba future.
In total, 140 students graduated in various vocational courses including tailoring, hairdressing, cosmetology and others. Marion Awori and Andrew Sebira for UBC.
Now, leaders of the NRM party in Kira convened amidst preparations for the LC2 village elections scheduled for Monday, 12th May 2025. Now, the Member of Parliament representing the elderly in the Central Region, Penina Kobusinje, said they are working at grassroots to restore NRM dominance in Kira as it was in the 1990s.
This cloth is the original UPM garment, the mother of NRM party, which this lady has kept since the 1980s. She was shot during that time, and a bullet remained lodged in her knee until recently, when she joined Parliament and finally underwent an operation to remove it. Her presence at this NRM convention, amidst the LC2 elections, signifies the major role NRM Chila leaders and mobilizers play ahead of defeating the party opponents. It was at this occasion that Penina Kobusinje, commonly known as Mama Chisanja, thanked all elderly NRM leaders for not losing the spirit. She said she is committed to providing the elderly with domestic animals to help them earn an income and support elderly circles to benefit from government programs.
Older people have given, have received some goats. In fact, not some, but most all of them. In every district, I've been giving them goats. And in the whole region today, we have got about 800 goats. These are the mothers and the babies. So every elderly now has got something to do in the morning. We opened up a circle, and all the elderly people, the leaders in Uganda, they all came, and we gave them their check, we gave them their account number to be putting on their money. But because we are now busy with these elections, they cannot start saving.
Arthur Bright, an experienced politics fanatic, says he has made a SWOT analysis and is ready to unseat Chila Municipality long-serving legislator Ibrahim Semujunganda.
Malamusoma, notegera okunafuwe, notegera naawe obugo, n'omanya nti katono. Campaign strategy ye ya kuvuma labe waffe. Era aza atukuba nnyo nga atuvuma. Era abakandidates baffe betuze tuweerezaayo okumukuba omukumwanganga. Mama Juliet, webaleke walwana, ebaali bwangu, omusajja avuma, ayinza n'okujjawa ku mulamwa. Naye tumuveeko. Okumutuukako, nze nzikiriza ffe nga party, kuba kati ngendako da party. Tulina okwekolamu omulimu, tufune candidate ng'ali solid, omuzungu kyayita solid, ng'ayimiridde.
Bantu Machawe Semambo and Ivan Jiko for UBC News.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, has challenged the recently elected NRMLC1 representatives to work in unison and mobilize support for the party. Dr. Baryomonsi noted that the time is now for all party representatives to work in harmony as the country draws closer to the general elections.
Early this week, the ruling National Resistance Movement NRM party held elections for the local Council 1 representatives across the country.
The turn-up is really good. I'm loving the enthusiasm. In many areas, people agreed, and there was no even voting.
Although the exercise had some glitches in some areas, in most of the areas across the country, the party registered free and fair elections. The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, applauded all participants for the positive commitment towards the party.
The villages, 72,000 villages in the country, went through this process. This demonstrates that the NRM remains a very strong party. No other party has capacity to hold those elections countrywide the way NRM did.
He noted that the election was free and fair and that the same spirit should follow even during the forthcoming general elections.
And the election, by and large, went peaceful, save for some few villages where, of course, an election is a contestation, where, for instance, maybe there were irregularities. The Electoral Commission has ordered for a repeat in those few areas, but it was a successful election all over the country.
Bariomosi made these remarks in Chiruhura district, where he officiated at the opening of Mwesiga Resorts Eco Lodge.
Him being a member of parliament for this area, I salute him for having brought resources down into this community and transformed this area by putting this facility. My appeal is to the public to utilize this facility because there are a number of services which are provided through here.
As we have more lodges, we have more tourists coming in, and hence we have development in our area. Person down, who is the farmer, gains. The person up, who is the owner of the hotel, gains. And eventually government earns income through taxation.
In attendance were the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, members of Parliament, a section of religious leaders, among others.
So when we get this kind of investment, we lure our neighborhood to come in and enjoy our services in hospitality.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo.
Today we are at Lukman Primary School, that's located in Kauku, Bwerenga, right by the lakeside. We have a happy customer who paid for her daughter's school fees. Nuru wano muwanguzi era agenda kusoma guno mwaka gwonna. MTN Momo esasudde yo akolegwa akusoma.
Ngasasula bitundu nendeta nensasulako nasigala nga babanja natuka okuwumula nga tannamalayo banankisa bibadde byangu nemwebale nnyo mwebalira mpulira ng'essanyu limpitidde naye mpulira ate kati nga kaba bukaabi mu mutima mwebale nnyo mwebalira ddala nga nze muwanguzi nakkonde nnooku.
Dial *165 *80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You are now entered a draw to win school fees for your child for a whole year.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotelconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
Life in Uganda today comes with so many uncertainties.
Where will Madam get Kameza if I get an accident and can't work? If anything happens to me, what will Junior eat?
Yeah, Kale Musa is still in the hospital. Guy is missing a lot of money here.
With a monthly payment of only 3,000 shillings off your Equity personal account for Equilife Insurance, you will be entitled to 50,000 shillings hospital cash per night spent in a registered facility, up to 20 nights every year. And your family will receive 3 million shillings in case of your death. Visit your nearest Equity agent to sign up today or call 0312 327 000 for assistance.
Welcome to our business desk. Now, in the world of business, the Minister of State for Energy, Sidronius Okasai Opolot, has emphasized the urgent need for Uganda to adopt clean energy solutions, particularly solar energy in agriculture, to boost productivity. While officiating at the National Dialogue of Integration on Solar Energy, organized by Accord in partnership with Haifa, Uganda, Minister Okasai stated that clean energy remains the most valuable solution to address the growing impacts of climate change.
We recognize the urgency to address energy access gaps. By 2040, we want everybody to be using clean energy. But how can we do it?
The Minister of State for Energy, Sidronius Okasai Opolot, has said that the demand for energy in the agricultural sector has surged due to the growing population and rising food needs. Okasai explains that to power equipment such as pumps, generators, motors, among others, there is need for alternative sources like solar energy, adding that the shift would help reduce reliance on fossil fuels and support sustainable farming.
How do we harvest the sun and turn it into more productive uses? We turn the solar, the light and the heat of the sun into generating electricity.
Minister Opolot also pointed out that Uganda is endowed with abundant solar energy, making it one of the most accessible renewable sources for the farmers. He further highlighted the importance of putting in place clear regulatory frameworks and financing mechanisms to support the adoption and implementation of solar energy in agriculture.
We have got to establish and have appropriate policies and laws to assure the quality, and then we have to see how this can be funded appropriately. But most importantly, address the issues of implementation of the policies, regulations.
Stakeholders at the dialogue called for integration of solar energy in agricultural operations to enhance productivity, reduce power costs, and promote environmental sustainability. The Executive Director, Haifa Uganda, John Senyonga, said that Uganda, as an agriculturally driven economy, must prioritize renewable energy to confront challenges of climate change.
Vegetables, but these smallholder farmers cannot do that if they are not able to access the micro-irrigation. You can't rely on the rain-fed kind of farming. So the whole drive is about how to ensure that we tap into this renewable energy to be able to make our farmers more profitable, more reliable, and more resilient.
The Executive Director, Accord, Dr. Arthur Benomjisha, echoed similar sentiments, stressing the potential of solar energy to transform agricultural practices across the country.
But this agriculture is being affected by erratic changes of the environment or weather conditions. Uganda has been moving very well in terms of economic development, but what you see now, like the reversal stagnation of economic growth, could be the impact of climate change.
The use of solar energy can revolutionize the agricultural sector, not only by reducing energy costs and grid dependency, but also by conserving water and even offering new revenue opportunities for the farmers. Susan Naong and Daniel Lugemwa reporting for EBC TV.
And lastly, in sports, in a unique blend of motorsport and environmental conservation, 2024 CRC champion Yoweri Museveni, together with his navigator Matthias Chiega, spearheaded a tree planting campaign in Mbarara City. This initiative aims to promote environmental restoration and sustainability.
As the rally season kicks off, Segam 14 Racing is setting a high standard for social responsibility in motorsport.
Nanyo obutonde fumes zetufulumya mu exhaust n'ebirala bingi. So naffe in return tusimba emiti okubeera nti tukompensatinga kyonna kye tuba twonoonye mu muzannyo guno ogw'empaka.
The event held ahead of the Shell V Power Pearl of Africa Uganda Rally 2025 brought together passionate fans and the Segam 14 racing team. Segabwe Musa and navigator Matthias Chega spearheaded a tree planting campaign. Together, they planted trees along key streets near the Mbarara Bus Park, symbolizing their commitment to a greener future.
Komye kwekyo kyokka twebaza omwami Segabwe nanyini group Segam Racing okubeera nti ataddewo noble cause omukolo kwegamba ogw'ekintu kisajja kikulu okubeera nti agupayonirinze tuzze mu miti kwegamba ekyo tuba tugudde mu mileage eya FIA ne FIM eya sustainability.
Okusookera ddala neebaza abawagizi bange nti be bamu ku baleeta ideas zino twakitandikira Masaka ewedde event ewedde Masaka gye twakitandikira era tugenda kikola buli kibuga gye tugenda okgenda omwaka guno gwonna.
This campaign showcases the team's dedication to giving back to the community and promoting environmental awareness. Benon Mokwaya, UBC News.
Thank you once again for hanging out with us. My name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango. We still have you back at 10 o'clock. Stay with us.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
You used to tell me that I don't